Okay, welcome back everybody. We're getting very close to the end here. So I know in the previous video I did not start from a mixed cube, but I will do this here. And we're going to get all the way down to the last two steps actually, and they're kind of, again, iterative. We might have to do one, then go back and do the other, and then go back and do the other, and we keep doing that until finally the cube is completely solved. So where I want to start today, again, is from a completely mixed cube. And I'm not going to talk here after I start, and we'll just get it down until the, like I said, we just have the bottom edges left. Okay, so there's our top layer. There's our second layer, and this is a new cube, so it's kind of sticky, but so now onto the bottom. Okay, so once again we have the adjacent case, which is probably the most common, so we have blue-orange and green-orange. Okay, so once again, opposite face, and we apply our 3x3 sequence of moves. Okay, with the 10th move being a double move, and that should set up and position all of the bottom corners, which it does. Okay, we're now looking for our yellow, our bottom face for the pattern. So in this case, again, we don't care about the edges, so we don't actually care that those are yellow. Okay, so in this case, it's the free situation where we don't have any corners that are yellow. So I'm just going to pick a face. Okay, now one trick is generally if you can pick a face that has a yellow in this bottom left-hand corner, it would be generally more desirable. So I'm going to pick the orange as my face. Okay, and this is the sequence we learned in the last, new sequence we learned in the last video. So right counterclockwise, bottom counterclockwise, right clockwise, bottom counterclockwise, right counterclockwise, bottom double, right clockwise, bottom double. Okay, and if we do this correctly, so we're still positioned correctly, but we're not there yet. So here's one of the examples that I theorized in the last one, where again, we only care about the corner, so I don't care that this is yellow or this is yellow. Okay, but I have my diagonal, and I want my diagonal going to the upper right, so this way, so I'm going to choose orange, or again, I could choose red. Okay, so in this case, again, the general rule of thumb is if you can have this bottom corner as being a yellow, it's beneficial. So I'm going to pick orange again, and it's the same sequence. Okay, so you can see we're just going round and round, but we're making progress because each time the pattern is changing. So again, looking now, I have one corner. So again, I orientate this so that corner's in the upper left. So red, pardon me, is going to be my face. Same pattern. Okay, again. Okay, so it's slightly different, but it's still the same pattern in this case, that this is what I care about. So red still, same pattern. So like I said, for those, if you guys are watching this who have some experience, by no means is this efficient. It's just that the number of patterns you have to memorize is rather small. So there we go. So we've caught up to where we left off last time, where we have now the corners positioned and orientated, and then the last thing to do is to now start worrying about these edges. Okay, so just like everything before, we're going to position, then orientate. Position, then orientate. So the first thing we're going to concentrate on is the positions of the bottom layer's edges. Okay, so what we do here is, so how do we tell again? So the common theme for the bottom face is we use some pattern to figure out which face we're going to use as our front face. Okay, and then we apply the sequence that I will explain. Okay, so in this case, what it is there's either going to be the number of possibilities are 0, 1, or 4. Now what I mean by that is there's either going to be 0 edge pieces that are in the correct position. Okay, there's going to be 1 edge piece in the correct position, or there's going to be 4. Now in this, the most common case is, I would probably say the 1 case, which is what we have here. So we have an orange and yellow, okay, on the orange and yellow. So this is in the correct position, but it's not orientated. So again, in this 1 case, is what it is we use this piece as defining the front face. So this orange face is going to be our front face. Okay? And now the sequence is, this is where again I try to use more intuition than the right counterclockwise, left clockwise, things like that. But I will explain it both ways. Okay, so the politically correct, what it should be is, so using your front face. Okay, so what it is you take your right face and you rotate it clockwise. You take your left face and you rotate it counterclockwise. Okay. Then you take your front face and you rotate it clockwise. You take your right face and you rotate it counterclockwise. You take your left face and you rotate it clockwise. You take your bottom face and you rotate it twice, or perform a double. You take your right face and you rotate it clockwise. You take your left face, you rotate it counterclockwise. You take your front face, you rotate it once clockwise. You take your right face and you rotate it counterclockwise. You take your left face and you rotate it clockwise. Now, that was a lot of moves. Okay. Now, so there's more. We have to do this some more because we're still not done. So you can see that orange is still in the correct position. Okay, the orange-yellow edge, but none of the other edges are correct. Okay, so we have to do this again on the orange face. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain my intuitive way of doing this. So again, what I do is sometimes I use the orange as the front face, and in some instances I use the white as the front face. Now this kind of breaks my rule that I said before, that we always use the white face as the top. This is the only kind of instance where it just helps, instead of having to remember all those moves, it's pretty intuitive. So what I refer to it as is, I refer to it as opening and closing. Okay, so what I mean by open is we take our front face and we open the sides. Now what open means is that we rotate. I always remember that in my right hand I always move it away from my front face. So I open. So what I refer to that as, I take this side and I open it. I take my other side and I open it. Okay, so those are the same two moves that I instructed before. So I open. So now what I'm doing here is that when I do this rotation, as I'm actually flipping to the front face. Okay, so again, more politically correct, maybe I should use the white face first as the front face, and then I open. Okay, and then the moves are always on the bottom. Then you always use your bottom face. So then it would be bottom, drawing a blank here, I believe it's clockwise. Okay, then what we do is we close. So when we close, we go back to our orange face. So then we close. Now once again, we use the bottom. Now it's bottom, double. Okay, so now we have to open again, so we're going to go to the white face. We're going to open it. Okay, and then, and then we take our bottom again, if we're on the white face, our bottom, and we rotate it once. Okay, the white should always line up after that move. And the last thing is that we close it. Okay, and now you should see that, we're getting close, in that all of the edges are now positioned correctly. Okay, and then in this case there's only 2 edges that are not orientated. 2 of them worked out that they were orientated, the red and the blue, and the only one left to orientate ones left, pardon me, to orientate are the orange and green in this case. Okay, so I'm going to do this one more time. I'll mix it. It's going to go from the two, or from the completely all the edges in the correct position to not, but just to do it a little bit faster. Okay, so what I do is I always kind of hold this as in front of me. So when I do open, what I actually do is it's like rotating the middle, which is never kind of a move, but it's like the same thing as taking the middle and rotating it down. Okay, that's the same thing as going to the white face and then rotating it like this, right? You end up with the blue sides and the white middle, right? Versus you go like this. So what I do is I rotate these two, and then I rotate this back. Okay, and then again, I'm always using the bottom. So to do this fast, or not that fast is important, but from the intuition, so as I rotate both of them, rotate one back, and again you can do that the other way, so rotate these two, and rotate one back, however you want to do it. And then the bottom is clockwise, close it. Okay, so you can see now by doing that close again, by doing the same thing as always rotating two and then one back, so it automatically flips me to the correct face. Okay, so let me just reset here. Okay, so I was here. Okay, so it's open, pardon me, so from the blue face, open, bottom positive or clockwise, close, bottom double, open, bottom clockwise, close. Okay, so maybe you guys got excited there, but again, it's still in the situation where we only have one piece that's correctly positioned and orientated for the edges. We have instead of two, we now have three of them that are still incorrectly orientated. Okay, so the very last video coming up next will be how do we now orientate these edges.